Alright guys, we promised you another small camper mods here. This is not really a camper mod.
It's just an addition.
But it's something we've been wanting to do for a long time. We picked up the new Champion 4500 watt generator, inverter, however you want to say that. So people call them different things. I call it a generator. But it's the dual fuel, so it'll actually work off gasoline or propane. And I like that because you know I like my propane. Kind of want to show you a real quick review on it. I couldn't find a whole lot of reviews out there, so we looked at it for a long time before we ever decided on which one to get. I know Hondas are real popular and like that, but for the price, man, you can't beat this one. So let me show you some quick things on it. This will be a quick video this week. I just want to give you a real quick overview, just to hopefully answer some questions that I had that I couldn't find answers to before we bought it. So let's roll. Alright guys. Let's get it hooked up real quick. It does come with this hose to hook it up to a 20-pound or 30-pound propane tank. It comes with the regulator already built in, and it's got a quick connect on the side. I have not even put a drop of gasoline in this yet because
it ain't got no gas in it.
Of the way we're going to use it, I really didn't ever want to put gas in it. Just because we're not going to use it that often. This is kind of like a backup for us. In case we ever wanted to boondock. We do not have solar on our camper right now, and this is more like you know, emergency. So if we was somewhere and power went out, or if we needed to boondock somewhere short notice, we can have this with us and do it. And so I really just don't want to leave gas in it. I hate leaving gas in something over a long period of time because it can gum things up and all that. So through the whole break-in period and everything we've used it for so far, I've not put a drop of gas in it. I use solely propane. And so, like I say, real easy. This goes to the propane side, quick connect on this side. Again, you got your little quick connect valve right here, quick connect fitting on this side, and it really is that easy, guys. The other thing on this side, it does have a pull crank here in case you need it, but this actually has electric start. Just a little bit about the electric start. They do recommend you starting this once a month just to keep the battery charged for the electric starter. Ask me how I know you need to do that, because when we first got it, I didn't do that the first month. Battery went down and I had to pull start it. Now, saying that, one of the easiest pull starts I've ever used. It's not like pulling on a lawnmower or anything like that. 2 pulls and it cranks. Easy peasy. Once you get that hooked up, probably need to turn the gas on this side. This Champion has a dial right here on the front. It has a choke position. Generally, the only reason why you need to use the choke position is if you're using gasoline. I found with propane, you really don't need the choke position. So you simply turn it one click to the start position, and this is your starter button. Now, the reason why it took so long to crank that time is because I've had that hose disconnected, so it does take just a few seconds to get that gasoline through the hose because there's no gas in there.
It ain't got no gas in it.
And so now, once I turn it off, now you turn it back to that position again, and she fires right up. And if you notice, it's not super loud. Now, obviously, there's nothing plugged into it yet, so it doesn't have a load on it. Once it gets a load on it, it does ramp up a little bit depending on what you're running. The biggest pull, obviously, is if we run the air conditioner. If we're just running lights and stuff like that inside, it pretty much runs at idle. One more quick thing, let me turn this off so it's not so loud. One word of caution, and I saw this on some Champion forums. This start button is real easy to hit. You tend to kind of want to put your hand here. And so if you're not careful when you're trying to grab it to turn it off, if you mash that, it's going to engage that starter and you can strip the starter gears. So just get in the habit of not putting your thumb on that unless you're cranking it. So whenever you're turning the dial, just make sure you're not hitting that, because if it's already cranked and you accidentally hit that button, it could mess up your starter. let's hook it up to the camper, see what she does. Now here at the house, we do have a permanent plug-in out here on the back side of our garage. Our garage is on the other side of this wall here. Our original camper was 50 amp, so this is a 50 amp hookup. At the time, we was newbies when we had a first camper. I didn't realize that, I did realize that they was 50 amp campers, 30 amp campers, but since our camper was 50 amp, I just put a 50 amp plug in. I never thought about the day would come of us downsizing and going down to 30 amp. But obviously, you can't for any time at all. You know they make dog bones to change it from 50 to 30. We do have a surge protector, and this surge protector does get tricky when you're running a generator. So I'll explain a little bit more of that here in just a second when I hook it up. But this is our hookup here at home. If I had to do it over again, I would have put in more like a 100 amp box. It's got the 50, the 30, and the two 110 outlets in it. But again, when we first put this in, I was a newbie, didn't know no better. So let me unhook this. We'll just unhook the camper here, unplug the surge protector, and then we can plug it directly into the generator down here. Alright, if we're looking here at the front of the generator here, I've already showed you the start button with the choke, the starter. Here's your little IntelliGauge. This will tell you how many hours you've run the generator. It'll also tell you how many, how many watts you're pulling, all that kind of good stuff. It's got a fuel gauge here if you're running gas. Of course, I'm not running gas, I'm running propane. You got individual circuit breakers or fuses for each thing. You got a 20 amp here for just your regular plug-ins. You got a 30 amp here for this one because this is a 30 amp plug. If you need 50 amp, if you've got a bigger camper and we're looking at a fifth wheel and need the 50 amp, you have parallel connectors here that you can pop up, and you can add in a second generator and tie them in parallel, and then it'll give you a 50 amp plug. So when you hook up in your parallel, it comes with another plug up here with a 50 and a 30 in it. And so if we ever upgrade campers, that's what we'll do, is we'll just add a second generator that'll power our 50 amp camper, and that way we'll run 2 or 3 air conditioners if we needed to. But for this one, 30 amp, that's all we've got here. 4,500 watts. It will run everything in the camper. When we first got it, I tested it with the air conditioner on, hot water heater, TVs on, fan running obviously with the air conditioner, refrigerator running on AC instead of propane. I turned everything in the camper on, and it had no issues running everything. And we do not have a cold start on our air conditioner. And so even with it kicking on, generally it'll surge when you first turn that air conditioner on. With 4,500 watts, that's not a problem. If you was down more like 3,500 watts, that might be an issue. You might end up having to put a cold start on there. But that's one reason why I went with the 4,500 watts. Now, here's where it gets tricky with campers if you're running a surge protector. If I plug this surge protector straight in, right here, you got your control lights. I'll have to crank it up so it'll get a little bit noisy here. But when you turn this on, with your surge protector plugged in, notice, no lights. So therefore, if I plug my camper into this, it is not going to work. We are not getting, this will not let power come from here to here. The reason why is because generators run an open ground. Now, you can put a metal rod in the ground, and there is a grounding cable right here. But if you're portable, if you're moving and you're camping, that's a little inconvenient. So, the workaround to that is to get you one of these. You can make one of these, or you can buy it. I bought this one. This is a Watchdog. It's a really highly recommended brand. They also make the surge protectors in a Watchdog brand. This one is a Southwire, just because I got a really good deal on it and saved more money off getting the Watchdog. But a Watchdog is a really good brand. And what this is just a grounding plug. And basically what it does is they take from the ground and the common in here, and they tie it together to give the reading so that your surge protector will work. So all you got to do to this, it's all self-contained, it's all sealed, so it's not going to get water in there. But what it does is, like I say, it ties those two terminals together Again, you can make one of these. You can go down here to Home Depot, Ace, Lowe's, whatever, and buy you one of these little plugs, like if you tore up your extension cord, and then take your piece of wire and you can make that connection yourself, put it together. This wasn't but about $2 more, and I didn't have to do any work. So that was just easier and more convenient for me. But you plug this into your 110 outlets here. Now when I crank it up, notice my surge protector's working. I got my check lights on here. Everything's good. So now I can plug the camper into it, knowing that I've got the surge protector. And power the camper. What I'm going to do, just for demonstration, I'm going here and hook up and turn on the air conditioner just so you can hear what it ramps up to with the air conditioner running. And you see it's still not very loud. I think it's 78 decibels if I remember correctly according to the manufacturer's literature. And that's not super loud. So again, that's basically everything in the camper running. I don't have the hot water heater on right now, but it still wouldn't ramp up any more than this. I hope you can hear me over this. But that's basically as loud as this ever gets, running the air conditioner. I've got all the lights on, everything inside. So that's basically it, guys. The biggest thing I wanted to point out was if you do want to use a surge protector, I just like using a surge protector because there's a lot of electronics in the camper. And to mess that up would be, a lot of money. I'm not an electrical expert, so I don't know how to work on a lot of that stuff. So I try to run a surge protector anywhere we can. Now, again, if you wanted to run this without the surge protector, you can plug straight into here. Then you don't need this, because the camper will run straight from here. The only thing that makes it disconnect is if you try to plug the surge protector in. You do whatever works best for you. That's up to you. I just felt better having the surge protector just in case something did go wrong here and it surged, it wouldn't at least fry the camper. So we always try to run our surge protector. You saw we run it here at home. That's the first thing I always plug in at the RV parts before I ever plug the camper into anything. I plug this in and check and make sure I don't have a reverse polarity or anything like that weird going on. But we love this little generator. We got it. I'll put the link down below. We did get it on Amazon, and we got it on sale. We got this thing for $952. I know Honda generators are super popular because they're so dependable, and they do have the longevity. But they're 3 times as much. A Honda generator this size is over $3,000. For us, hardly ever using it, I couldn't justify the cost. I'm not saying anything about those generators, but I just could not justify that cost. So we went with this one and have been very happy with it. One other thing to consider if you do get a generator of any brand is make sure you do your break-in cycles before you plug anything into it. That is the life of this generator, that and changing the oil. This one I went through a routine where basically I ran it for half an hour. Obviously when you first get it they don't ship it with oil in it, so you got to put your oil in it, either put gas in it, hook it up to propane. I then ran it for half an hour with no load on it at all, drain the oil, put fresh oil in it. They even make, you can get them on Amazon, they even make magnetic dipsticks, because when you're first breaking this in, you will get a little bit of metal shavings in the oil. So you can get that magnetic dipstick to help get some of that out of there. But the main thing is changing the oil. So I ran it for half an hour, changed the oil, and it was pretty black because it's breaking in. Then I put the oil back in it, ran it for another half hour, During that period is when I hooked it up to the camper. I put some load on it, make sure it would handle everything. But putting a load on it makes it idle differently. So that, you know, it helps seats the pistons and the rings in there in your engine. So you want to do that during the break-in to make sure all that gets done properly. So I ran it for a half an hour, putting a load on it, taking it off, changing the speeds on it, turned it off, let it cool down, changed the oil again. Then I ran it for another half an hour just to get everything good and done. You're supposed to change the oil on these. They say every 5 hours, depending on how much you use it, you know, but no more than every 5 hours. We will probably change it a little bit more than that, just because I want this thing to last a long time. But that is very crucial in these generators, is the breakdown. There is some breakdown videos out there where people show you break-in videos, so that where people did show you that, but I just couldn't find any information about anything else. So I wasn't really sure, you know, how it would handle the camper load with everything. Originally, a few years ago, we was looking at one. They originally had one that was 4,000 watts dual fuel, but then when they came out with 4,500 watts, I knew without a doubt that would do everything we needed to do. My only problem I'm having with this right now, and it's not really, it's just a personal problem. The other neat thing, it does come with this handle here, and it is on wheels, so you can move it around real easy. But if you watch some of our other videos, you notice when we got the Blackstone grill, we also have a gas fire pit and stuff that we use, and I've got a quick connect on the camper on the side over here where I can run all that. And I have 25-foot hoses. I wanted to be able to hook this up to the LP tanks on the front, which I can do through the quick connect on the side of the camper. The problem is I have not found a hose fitting for the 25-foot to fit this quick connect on this generator.
My name is Hank Hill, and I sell propane and propane accessories.
I went to Champion's website. The only thing they make is they make an extension for this hose to take it up to 25 foot, but you still have to plug it into a tank, and they make a replacement of this hose. For some reason, this quick connect fitting on this is different. I've looked everywhere I know to look so far. I'm not giving up, but I've got to find the correct fitting on this so that I can hook it up to the quick connect on the camper, because the camper's already regulated. You already got your regulator here on your tanks up here. So if I wanted to hook it up around the side, again, if you go back and look at some of those other videos, I won't show you all that now, but I could just plug it in there, and then I'd have a 25-foot hose. I could kind of move it away from the camper so it's not so close to the camper, so it's not so noisy. But I'm having trouble finding that fitting. If anybody out there knows what this fitting is, or know where I can buy one, because if I can just get the fitting, I can change it out on my other hoses. You know, I can unbolt it, I know how to do all that, and then Teflon tape or whatever, seal it and change that fitting out. But I'm just having trouble finding this fitting. So if you know what it is, let me know, please, because I would love not to have to carry around this extra tank. That was my goal when I did the quick connect for the Blackstone and our little fire pit that we have, is that way I don't have to carry extra propane, because I've already got 2 propane tanks on here. Why should I have to carry another one? But for now, either I have to carry a separate tank, or I would have to unscrew one of these tanks and hook it in the front. And you can do that. You've got 2 tanks here, you could just unscrew one, screw this in directly on one of the tanks there, and that would work, and you wouldn't have to carry that tank. So something to think about, but we are very, very happy with this Champion. It's been awesome. Like I say, as long as you crank it once a month, it'll start right up every time. One more thing I forgot to tell you guys, I wanted to show to you. This is another thing that we did a lot of research on before we bought. This, the height wise, fits under my tonneau cover in the back of the truck. That was very important because I did not want to have to figure out a way how to load this into the camper. I don't have, my compartments on the camper ain't big enough to hold this thing anyways. So I can actually put it right here in the back of the truck, in the bed, with my solid cover, tonneau cover. I have the lock and tailgate. That way nobody can steal this thing. I know I've seen some people put these on like racks on the back of the campers and all that kind of stuff, and people stole them and all this other stuff, so that made me feel a bit more secure. But I love that it fits under here without a problem. So I just wanted to kind of show you that so you get the visual, because that was important to us, because you get too big of a generator, it won't fit under here. So I hope that helps you out a little bit. Again, the link will be down below, and just something we wanted to show you. Alright, see you next week, guys.